Today's Anxiety Slayer podcast is brought to you by New Beginnings, daily steps for self-acceptance and peace of mind. If you want to wake up each day feeling good about yourself, energized, happy, peaceful, if you want to shed the layers of protective armor wrapped around your heart, this supportive course is for you. Join us on this journey of deep self-care work. Lighten your load, calm your anxiety, and lift your spirits. For a limited time, we have a special offer where you can save $30. Learn more at anxietyslayer.com. Welcome back to the Anxiety Slayer podcast. I'm Shan Vanderleek here with my wonderful friend and co-host Ananga Sivyer. We come together weekly from Kent and Leelanau to share Anxiety Slayer sessions with you and answer listener questions from our inbox and Facebook page. Together, we share a powerful collection of techniques to reduce anxiety. And we're back after a hiatus. And so it's wonderful to be back with you again, Ananga. Welcome.
Hey, Shan. It's really good to be back. I'm so excited to be reconnecting with you. Of course, we were still in connection, but reconnecting in our work and reconnecting with our Anxiety Slayer community.
And all of our listeners who've been reaching out to us to wish you well. We are so grateful. We've heard so much lovely feedback from Facebook and from the Academy, and we've received emails.
I'd really like to thank everyone who's been so kind to contact me. I've received so many messages of support. Thank you so much to everyone who sent me your kind wishes. I really appreciate it.
And it's just an honor to be with you again and to be creating more podcasts, getting back to our work. One of the questions that we get asked most about anxiety is, what can I take, or what one thing can I do to feel better?
Yeah, the thing with anxiety is that it's such an overwhelming and awful experience taking over so much of our life that we can become quite focused and almost desperate to just think, I just want this to stop. This is unbearable. It's affecting my well-being, my relationships. Sometimes we're worried about losing our work. It's such a life-ruining and altering experience that very naturally we want to know, how can we stop it? And the tendency is for the mind to look for that one thing that you can do or take. And in our experience with anxiety, one thing that you can do, it's more broadly focused, but it really gets to the root of anxiety, and that is to really take steps to invest actively in self-care. Self-care is very important in calming anxiety at its core, and the more committed we are to that care, the better we'll feel. Now, initially, that's not a particularly popular answer because it sounds broad, and it might sound a bit vague, and it might sound not perhaps hard-hitting enough for something that's such a big issue, but that's what we're going to be talking about today, is just how valuable it is and the importance of having some structure with that because of the overwhelm that can come with anxiety. When we talk about self-care, we need some framework, some steps, some things in place that we can actually start to do so we can quickly feel the benefits.
And when I think about some of the first steps that are most helpful, journaling always comes to mind, tapping comes to mind, moving your body, yoga comes to mind. And all of these things are kind of threaded together, and so that you can pick and choose what feels good for you in a particular moment. If you're feeling extra stressed, you might want to be tapping or doing some breathing exercises. If your head's just kind of in a space where you need to focus a little bit more, you might want to do some journaling to bring up how you're feeling and to just kind of let those words fall to the page. And then, of course, there's nothing like yoga to get back in your body and get grounded and really start to feel yourself being cradled by the earth. And as we know, grounding is super important for when we're feeling out of sorts.
Yeah, these are really important key practices for calming the mind, releasing unwanted looping thoughts, releasing anxiety from our body and from our mind. The wonderful thing about the structure of the course that we have on offer this month is that it brings all these three practices in depth individually with step-by-step instructions how to benefit from them, but also threads them together. One of the most beneficial things with journaling is that it gets us the opportunity to externalize our thoughts, to take the anxiety out of our head and put it on the paper in a safe place. Because very often anxiety makes us chattery and loopy, and when we try and express ourselves to others, we can find ourselves feeling perhaps that we're a burden, or we repeat ourselves and we're trying to articulate what's going on. It can be quite difficult to express clearly when you have anxiety. It messes with your thought to speech. So journaling is a really safe, calm practice for getting your thoughts out of your head and on the page where you can see them, which immediately starts to feel better.
Yeah.
But when you combine that journaling with tapping and guided tapping practices, then you can start to address and transform and release the words that you've written that are causing you suffering. So that's a very powerful dual practice to get the words out on the page and then know how to address them for yourself with EFT tapping.
And this time of year is the perfect time to start a self-care program. Right now, in this spring and summer transition, where there's more light and color, and it's easier to get outside and move your body than in the new year, when we traditionally make resolutions and set intentions, but we're still in that middle of winter, still in that dark time.
Yeah, the calendar and the Western tradition tells us it's New Year and it's time for New Year resolutions, but we're in a hibernating energy at that time of year. And on the Vedic calendar, New Year begins in the spring, and there's always that push for reaffirming and setting intentions and action steps towards how you want to feel and what you want to do with this wonderful gift of a human life. So this is a really key time for setting intentions and taking steps towards recovery, and nature's on our side at this time of year. So in Ayurveda, this is a very good time for cleaning up nutrition, practicing self-care, going for walks in nature, and we often recommend bringing mindful awareness into those walks, so taking steps out in the earth, hearing your feet thudding on the earth, looking at the colours, listening to the birds. If your anxiety is running high, it's a great practice to just look for 5 things you can see, 5 things you can hear, some textures you can feel. I like to walk out in nature and touch different leaves and tree barks and immerse as many of my senses as I can into the nature around me, and that's an extremely effective and grounding way. And again, it might not sound as complete and quick as taking something, but it really does help. It helps more quickly than you might imagine to just really bring your senses out in nature. And in Ayurveda, this is a very powerful and highly recommended practice, and now's the time of year to do it.
Yeah, and this journey of deep self-care work really does begin with fresh air and sunshine and nature and nutrition, and allowing ourselves to really purge, release what we've been holding on to. And getting it out on the page is really a great place to start. And of course, the guided EFT tapping sessions are also useful to release painful emotions. There's just so much that you can do right now to support yourself and do it in a sweet way.
Yeah, and again, the challenge is try it.
Yeah.
Take action. The anxious mind will tell you this is not enough. It won't work. The anxious mind will tell you nobody understands how you're feeling. The anxious mind's nature is to stay anxious and to stay stuck.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of rise above that. In Ayurveda, it's taught that we have different levels of awareness in our mind. Our intelligence sits above our mind, and the intelligence can be like a mother, and the mind is more like a child. So we need to go into that mother energy of the intelligence and say, okay, I know you don't want to do this, and I know it doesn't make sense, but let's just try it. Try it and see. And we have to kind of coerce ourselves into taking action. But it feels very good when we operate from that observant intelligence instead of being stuck in the mind. Like I remember years ago, I was suffering with terrible anxiety, and my mind just wouldn't stop. It was going on and on, almost like a delirium, on and on and on. And a part of me just shouted in my head, stop, just stop. And for a second it did. And I had the realization that the part of me that told it to stop was a different part than the mind. It was situated looking at the mind.
Mm-hmm.
The more we can work with that part, which we do through journaling, through tapping, through conscious choices invested in our well-being, the more we can operate from that place, the less we suffer with our mind. But we have to embrace the challenge. We have to try it. We have to take action. And that can be difficult. Sometimes it feels impossible, but the way to do it is by hanging out with people who know how to do it, people who've done it. So it's like a coaching situation. If you want to learn anything, you can go to somebody who knows how to do it. So that's where online learning and structured courses really come in, is that you can take guidance from people who know what works, people who've been through it themselves, and who can share their story and their experience and really save you from the pitfalls and show you a step-by-step process. But we have to take the challenge. We have to make that step of, okay, this is enough. Today I'm taking a step forward for me.
Well said. Well, I just am thrilled to be here with you again today, Ananga. I'm glad that we talked a little bit about how to begin this spring and summer transition in a supportive, beautiful way. And then, of course, our New Beginnings offering is available for anybody who wants to get started on daily steps for self-acceptance and peace of mind. One thing is for certain: beneath all of our personal stories of pain and discomfort, we can access wholeness, peace, and compassion.
Introducing New Beginnings, daily steps for self-acceptance and peace of mind. Escape the trap of anxious thoughts and limiting beliefs that hold you back with this special journey of personal healing. This course includes supportive journaling prompts, guided EFT tapping sessions, and gentle yoga classes to calm your anxiety. Save $30 for a limited time at anxietyslayer.com.